Hello ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Raised by Wolves Season 2, because it's here. Yes sirree, it is here. Now, to talk about Season 2, I want to just give a quick recap of my thoughts of Season 1, because we've got a lot of new people here. It's actually been quite a while. This was in production and things like that, and since we had Season 1, it seems to have been quite a while. So, hello new people. I'm glad that you like the channel, I'm glad you're subscribed. Season 1, and there is an important point to recapping on Season 1 to then give my thoughts on Season 2, because I feel like Season 2 is going to mirror Season 1 in its narrative structure. So Season 1 started off as grounded as a sci-fi series can, right? It didn't ask really big questions of the audience in terms of their belief, in terms of what they were watching, in terms of, leaving things unanswered. It just said, hey, there you go. 2 androids, another planet, raising kiddies. Excellent. Oh, there's some aliens. Oh, there's some of this. And then it went really cosmic, and then it went really balls to the wall with a giant bloody serpent. Right? So we can all agree that Season 1 had that as a structure. I feel like Season 2 is going to do exactly the same kind of thing. I enjoyed Season 1 for what it was. I feel like a lot of these types of shows, though, unfortunately have a lot of setup. And sometimes they become too enamored with asking big questions rather than answering the questions which they actually establish. So there's a lot to unpack with this show. There's a lot going on. I do now start to feel like there seems to be a direction of some answers happening. I don't know whether they're going to be satisfactory or not. Of course, we need to see how this develops. But I feel like with Season 2 that they are back on track again. But I do think Season 2 will mirror it exactly the same way. It has started off as grounded as a sci-fi show can. It started off really solid, actually. So, where we left off with Season 1, they had travelled through the planet, gone out the other side, and the serpent just buggered off. The serpent child of Lamia. And now they're being picked up by atheists on the other side. There's a new supercomputer, Trust. The Trust, I think it's called the Trust, or they are called the Trust. But anyway, big supercomputer, actually developed by Campion, the same individual that created Lamia, reprogrammed her and created her for to be a mother of humanity. Now, the voice acting actually on Trust, I'm pretty certain it's called Trust, was great, really, really good. Really, really decent, actually. I enjoyed that quite a lot. Lamia's performance, the actress behind Lamia, absolutely stellar. Really, really, really good. I was very dubious about it with Season 1 because it was so out there. But I think I've sort of ruminated on it a little bit more now, and I've sort of developed a greater appreciation for her performance. It's very nuanced. It's very restrained, yet quite ham on it as well. She does a very, very good job of portraying this sort of being that's viewing the world and its inhabitants with a different kind of lens of humanity. And it's interesting as well because, when we're looking at these two characters of mother and father in these 2 episodes, you can kind of see, as we were seeing in Season 1, they look at humans with more humanity than the humans have looked at one another. And it's fascinating. It's really, really fascinating how they sort of framed it in that way. And I think that they've achieved that in a really, by smartly pitting a religious sect against non-religious. Yeah. And it's not actually outrightly stated that either is good or bad in this show. In fact, it's kind of framed that both are pretty terrible, right? Especially now the atheists. Because the atheists on the planet, on the tropical side, they're not the super smart ones. They're not the great tacticians, the great scientists. They're just run-of-the-mill army people, basically. And that's actually one of the lines of dialogue that is said in the film, in the series. Like, where are all the scientists? Where are all these people? And they are governed over by this big supercomputer. Now, in terms of the how the story's progressing, because the show's great, like the set pieces are great, the effects are great. But let's talk about like the Mithraic and the Atheist sector. So the Mithraic now, on the tropical side, is basically legioned by, the championing by Fimmel's character. He's gone really ham on this. Like, I think he's a very good actor for this. This is a good role for him. Very, very good role for him. So we opened with him presumably on the other side of the planet, by the looks of it anyway. And he takes over a bomber, an atheist bomber. So he shoots it down, jumps in it, and he actually goes to do a suicide attempt. Because he's like, right, arm, and the computer's like, nope, like weapon system's damaged. He's like, for goodness sake, right, Soul will, protect me. And he goes to just chuck the whole, bomber ship into the atheists, big mothership, and they, the supercomputer Trust controls it and goes nope, and he then shoots all the computer systems, and then goes into the ocean. And the ocean's actually acid, which is interesting. He gets out, comes back on land, and then he finds a cave. There's a point to why I'm saying all of this stuff, because in the last season, it became very apparent that there had been beings on this planet before. Right? Very apparent, and even more so in this season. So he finds a cave, and it's actually got the markings of Sol, the sun. And when we started to talk about the prophecy that's been laid out in season 1, there are very many different individuals that could fit that prophecy. But it also seems to be a prophecy which has been preordained, i.e. it's manufactured. Right? They've already been to the planet. The prophecy indicates that someone will go to a planet, an orphan, a boy orphan, will go find the tree of life, and then will become king. But if they've already been to the planet, humans, and they're already laying the framework for someone to do all of this, it's literally manufactured. It's what it seems to be. But there's a few individuals that fit that. So there's Paul, he's an orphan. There's Campion, he's an orphan. There is Fimmel's character, he's an orphan. And there's one more, which I don't think many people have sort of thought about. The Snake. The Snake is an orphan, abandoned by his mother, the Serpent, abandoned by his mother, Lamia. He is actually still potentially part of that prophecy. And he's called he by Campion. And there's dialogue by Campion that says, yeah, he's alone, he just wants his mother, he can't find her, he's abandoned. So he is actually also part of that prophecy. I believe he's still in there in the discussion that he could be. Yeah. I mean, I could talk about this show all day. There's so much to unpack. Paul finds a relic, from Sol, and it's seemingly a box where he can open it up, and there's something in it, potentially seeds, who knows. Lamia still doesn't have her eyes. Trust is interesting. That computer seems to be pushing people to do things which make them sort of question their humanity by the sounds of it, or just there seems to be like an ulterior motive behind his actions. So he actually gets Lamia to punish an individual that had set fire to the ground outside their house in the symbol of Sol. Basically threatened, said, leave, go home. But in that action, and then getting the individual to go specifically to the house to apologise to them as well, and she's all like hooded up and no one can see who she is, but there seems to be like a nefarious nature to it. It doesn't seem as clear cut as, oh yeah, I'm just getting her to do this. It seems very, very particular. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Very, very interesting. And I'm also really looking forward to Lamia getting her eyes back so she can go batshit crazy mental. Anyway, important. to point out a few other things. So Fimmel is building his flock, the flock, you know, inductees into this religion, saving people and things. I'll be very intrigued to see where that goes. Father has found an android in a cave. Again, very clear cut that there's something going on where people have been here before. Like 100% they have. And the serpent's just buggered off into the middle of nowhere. And they're trying to hunt it down. So yeah, I like this show a lot. Love the music. Love the effects. I just think it's good in terms of the fact that we're getting a sci-fi series that is so out there and so mental and just so wow. But I really hope that they answer some of the questions that they've asked, or that that they've made the audience ask, and also the characters in the show. So let me know what you guys think down below. This will be my sort of discussion review piece of episode 1 and 2. Pretty much non-spoilers, really. It's not that much spoilers, is it? But let me know what you think down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching there, guys. Take care.